There it goes.
Guys good? Hello everyone, my name is William Baronato, and this is my group Joe, Robert, Abdul, Lay, and Brandon, and we are here to talk about training and development. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is how training is the framework of the workplace. As I just said, as the slide shows, once again, training is the framework of the workspace. Basically, without training in general, any workspace would be very inefficient. Some people might know things, some people might not. It wouldn't turn out very well. So training basically helps you develop and makes you a more efficient worker. And old training is basically sitting in a meeting for about 30 to an hour, just sitting there, hands on your side, bored, trying to text, do anything. It's kind of like a lecture at college. You know, they kind of get really dull over a point. But, you know, after a while, they want to change it up because times are changing when it comes to training. The reason why I say that specifically is because going through research that training just in a meeting room does not really help the brain be active. Nobody really pays attention, they're on their phone. So new tech is making everything a little bit better. Interactive videos, PowerPoints, group work really keeps the brain functioning, makes you want to actually invest in the work instead of just sitting there trying to send a quick text message or something, not pay attention to the message. Okay, so of course of that, time costs money. No matter what you do, it's going to cost something. The average amount it costs one person to do a training session is about $1,400. And for the budget, it costs about 2.72% of the budget. So it does take a little bit of a toll on it. Now, the ladder that you see behind me is the 4 steps of the training process. The lowest one, the big picture, that's your employee orientation. Next is in-house training. After that is your mentorship. And the last step after that is external training. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is employee orientation. Employee orientation is your basic welcome to this workplace. Breaks are this long, fill out the W-2s, bathrooms are this way, simple stuff like that. Employee orientation is nothing serious when it comes to actual hands-on training. When it comes to the goals of employee orientation, the goals are to reduce anxiety and reduce the stress in the workplace, to help you get acquainted to your new workers and your work environment, and for a supervisor's side, it's to take care of employee turnover. The next step that we have is in-house training. In-house training is your basic steps, basic training, like going to be doing some certain work like push buttons, pull levers if you're doing machinery, stuff like that. Now there's multiple different forms of training as well. There's actually even a checklist that goes on along with it. Some of them include ethical training, multicultural, communication training, customer service training, and then operations of special equipment. Now some of them are dedicated to certain jobs, other ones can go all around when it comes to training. But there's training for basically any job that you have. A good example that I have when it comes to in-house training, honestly, is a butcher. Reason why? When you have a butcher, you need to learn on the job how to basically take apart a whole cow, pig, other animals. So it's a little bit different of an example, but you have to train on job to figure out how to take apart a giant cow. Next that we have is our mentors. It's the 3rd step in the training process. Mentors have a direct investment in the company, and they want to make you a better and efficient worker in your workspace. They want to make sure you can become very efficient. Now with mentors, they're short-lived, short-term actually I should say. A good example of a short-term mentor is Whole Foods Market. What they do when they have new stores opening up is they will send older workers from different stores into the new stores that are opening to help them train, get used to the environment, and help the newer workers become a little bit better with tips and tricks. The last step that we have is external training. External training is basically training outside of your workplace, where it could be more for leadership skills, or it can be for extra licensing if you're trying to get like a specific license to do something. A great example of this is the Ford Asset Program. Ford's Asset Program, if you ever want to become a Ford automotive technician, you have to go to this program in Texas. If you want to become, I am terrible, sorry. A Ford automotive technician must go here in order to complete their final training, because if not, they will never receive the job. Now, personal experience-wise, I work at Whole Foods Market for the past 3 years. They're rated like on Forbes ethical company, but I can tell you in all honesty, their training is absolutely terrible. Their training basically is they tell you to do something, and then you just kind of sit there and cry because they don't tell you how to do it. When you do it wrong, he yells at you worse than Gordon. They yell at you worse than Gordon Ramsay. You feel very pressured. Now, when I first started working there, it was about 2 months in. I actually considered quitting because the training there was very poor. I actually changed departments because it did not work out that well. When I changed departments, though, it did get better. However, the training still wasn't great. But what I took from it is when I have to train people, I like to make sure I'm very hands-on so I can help reduce the anxiety of the new workers, and so they have more of a positive experience than I did. Now, let's recap. That froze over. So let's recap. We went through employee training process, the framework of employees, the 4 steps of employees training, and now up next we have Abdul with more information on training.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdul Al-Daidi, and today I'm going to talk to you about training. Before getting to any job, you have to have some type of training. So in any company that you go in, they will see what skills that they need from you, so they will train you on that, like the skills that they need you from. So why we need training? We need training because to increase productivity, to increase the ability to employ, to apply new technology, to increase the safety, and to increase job satisfaction. So we have 4 types of training. We have quality training, we have tech training, and we have skills training and soft skills training. And it depends on what type of company you're in. You have to train in one of these type of trainings. So the first type of training is quality training. And when you, for example, if you are in the company, so you have to know what type of products do you have to train on to get better quality. So for example, wait for the next slide. But for example, if you have a standard quality in your company, it can give you an advantage, competition advantage. And that competition advantage, it might result in cutting cost, or it can give you a good marketing to your company. So we have Walmart, which their training, the quality training is about cutting cost, and versus Wigman, and their quality training is about teaching their employees how to do quality training. So at the end, quality training is important because it will deliver a quality service at the end. And I got a great quote from Steve Jobs here. You guys can read. So the second type of training is tech training. And if your company wants to apply a new version of Microsoft Office, so they have to train all the employees in the companies how to use that new version professionally. So for this example, I got doctors who they train to the new technology that they have in the hospital, and they have to have tech training so they can save lives in the future. And in the next slide, I have people who in Best Buy who really train on the new games like PlayStation or Xbox or any type of game. So when the customers comes in and they don't have any idea about the products that they have. So what they do is like they will teach them what kind of products that they have, and they will go through it. So third type of training is skill training. And basically this kind of skills training is training you how or exactly what kind of products the company have. So for example, if you are a cashier, you have to put the eggs in a separate bag, because if you put it in like the same bag, it will crush. So this type of training has to be with the mentor. So in this example, I used Wolf of Wall Street, where like Leonardo DiCaprio, he trained all his employees to how to sell penny stocks to the other customers. And I have G-force training, which is the extreme training. And G-force training is about like when you have a high speed and you turn right away. So you experience a G-force training. And most of it's exactly what happened in the roller coasters. So in this type of training, the Air Force, what they do, you see the machine here in the right, it like spins so fast, and some Air Force, they sometimes pass out. So this kind of skills will train the Air Force how to like control their body when they pass out, like when they're flying. And this is a high force. You see the guy on the right. He's in the high force, G-force. Fourth type of training is skill training. And this type of training, the company will try to make you connect with the customers that you have. So in the future, so you build a good relationship with the customers. So this type of training might include personality and how to communicate with others, and also can include sexual harassment training, and or ethical training, or sometimes it can include motivation training to your employees. I got a great example for hibachi. When you go to the restaurant, you have all the chefs, and they trying to engage with the customers by doing new moves, or like making fun with the customers, and they also have a great quality food. So that's a great example for soft skills with chefs. So in my own experience, I got an offer from HSBC, and they told me that I have to have 6 months training before getting a job. And what they do every month, they change me from a position to another positions. So at the end of the experience, I will have great knowledge about all the experiences that I have during the training. So I will be a better employee. So thank you guys for listening. And next is Brandon.
Alright guys, as he said, I'm Brandon Perry. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the 4 other trainings that organizations have, which would be professional legal training, team training, managerial training, and safety training. So I'm going to go in depth with all of these, and hopefully you guys can learn a little bit more about these today. So the first one we have is professional legal training. This really pertains to individuals such as doctors, lawyers, or personal trainers. And these are people that need to have their licenses renewed every year or so in order for them to keep practicing. If they don't do that, they can run into a lot of issues, such as my next example, which would be the Massachusetts General Hospital. And they had a situation back in 2011 where nurses broke privacy policies, and it costed the company millions of dollars, and they had to get their nurses retrained. So if you stay on top of your training with your employees, you can kind of avoid those kind of situations. So of course there's more trainings for the legal side of things as well. There's trainings for sexual harassment and discrimination in the workplace. So you want to make sure your employees are up to date and very well informed about that, so you can avoid those situations as well. So we also have team training. This really focuses on developing cohesiveness between your members. If you have a group of employees, you want to make sure that they work well together and that they're really cohesive and work well as a unit. So you can do this through simple things such as a trust fall you see here on the left.